Kiddo here. I am sorry that the volume wasn't great for the first two parts, but this time it will be a lot better. Anyway, let's get started. So right now we have a status to show us how much money we have, but for now it's kind of hard to gain so much money because, well, we don't have any upgrades to buy to help us out. So I think we need to do some upgrades. So I am going to I'm going to create actually a new sprite. I'm going to paint a new sprite. And I'm going to open up my backpack and drag in my first costume, which is the shop costume. Then I'm also going to drag in my bank costume. I'm also going to drag in my shop plus costume and my plus bank costume. So these are my 4 costumes and I will teach you how to use them. Okay, so anyway, inside of the code, I am going to drag in a when green flag clicked, I'm going to set the size to 50% because for now they're very big. So I'm going to set it to 50% and I'm going to go to x minus 120 and y 60. Okay, and now I am also going to hide it, and then I'm going to create a new block called create upgrade. I'm going to add in input, and I'm going to call this input name, and the next input cost. Okay, now I'm just going to click okay. So, and I'm just going to call it right here, and inside of the first one, once you have finished your costume, name it and remember the name. For example, my costume, the first one is called shop. So I'm going to copy the name from the costume, and I am going to paste it inside of the name part. And then I can put whatever cost I want, for example, $300. Okay, and inside of the define create upgrade name cost, well, I'm going to set the upgrade. Oh yes, I have to create a new variable. I always forget. So I'm going to set the upgrade name, and I am going to click for this sprite only. This is very important. We have to click for this sprite only. And I'm going to set upgrade name to name. And then I'm going to also create a new variable called cost for this sprite only again. Okay, and I'm going to set cost to cost. Okay, then I'm going to switch the costume to the name. So the name. And I'm also going to create clone of myself. And then I'm going to change the X by something like 250, yeah. Okay, so let's see what that, so yeah, okay, and that's nice. Now I'm going to also create the upgrades for all of my little upgrades. So pause this video if you haven't finished your upgrades and unpause once you are ready. Okay, so you finished your upgrades, so now let's use them. Remember to name them properly. So for example, this one, because it's a shop, I'll call it shop. This one, I'll call it bank. And this one, I'll call it shop plus upgrade. And this one, I'll call it bank plus upgrade. Okay, so I'm going to copy the name of my second upgrade. And I'm going to right click duplicate this. And then inside I will copy paste. Okay. So I'm going to also set the cost 1000 $2,500 because that's what it says. And so then I am going to go to minus 120 for the X and minus 100 for the Y. Minus 100 for the Y. And now I am going to drag in another create upgrade, and inside I will go into my costume and copy the name of my third upgrade and paste it in there, and the cost will be 550. Okay, and I'm going to create another upgrade, and inside of my costumes I'm going to duplicate the name of this, so copy the name, and then I'm going to paste it inside the create upgrade, and I'm going to set the cost to $2,500, which is a lot. Okay, 2,500. Okay, so I think this is going to be pretty good. Now I think we need just to be sure that they show at the right position and only if the shop is open. So I am going to drag in a when I start as a clone. Forever I will go to the front layer, and then I'm going to drag in a if else actually, and if else. Inside of the if I'm going to put in a AND operator, and inside I'm going to put in a if touching mouse pointer and the mouse is down, and then if also we have enough money to purchase the item, so I'm going to drag in a OR operator and make it so that the cost is smaller than money, or the cost equals money. So if the cost equals money, and I am going to make a new block called buy upgrade, and I'm going to click OK, and I am going to drag that in there, and I'm going to wait until instead of the if, I'm going to wait until not mouse down from the operator section. I'm going to drag in a not inside of sensing. I'll drag in a mouse down. Okay, and inside of the else, I am just going to simply hide the variable. So let me just hide. Oh yes, I forgot. I am very sorry. Instead of an if else, we just need a if. So I'm going to drag this in here and drag all this in there. And I'm going to drag this in the trash. And then I'm going to drag this here. And I'm going to drag in another if else and drag it here. But this if else will ask if the shop open equals yes. So if shop open equals yes, well then I'm going to show for sure, and else I will hide. Okay, perfect. Now I think I am going to define the buy upgrade. So once you buy the upgrade, you want to you have to change money by the cost, right? So I'm going to change money by, I'm going to go into the operators and grab a multiplication operator, and on the right side I'm going to do a -1, and on the left side I am going to drag in cost. So what that means is that if I change money by cost times -1, that just makes it multiply and become negative. So, okay, and now I'm going to drag in a if else, and I'm going to drag in a if, I'm going to put in the upgrade name, if upgrade name equals shop, at least remember my costume is called shop, but maybe yours is not. So put the name of your costume. Okay, if upgrade name equals shop, then I am going to create a new variable called money per second. Okay, and I'm going to keep this for all sprites. Okay, I'm going to change the money per second by 1. I'm also going to create a new variable called shops for all sprites, and I'm going to change the shops by 1. Okay, now I'm going to right click duplicate that and put that inside the else, and now I'm going to say if upgrade name equals bank, which is the name of my costume but maybe not your costume. Well, I'm going to change the money per click, which we have created in the first part, by 1. And I'm going to create a new variable called banks, and I'm going to keep that for all sprites. I'm going to change banks by 1. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to right click duplicate this and drag this into the else, and I'm going to say if upgrade name, and I'm going to go into costume and check my upgrade name for my third costume, and I'm going to copy it because it is quite complicated. Now I'm going to paste that in there. Okay, well, I'm going to change the money per second because that's what it does, you see. It says +2 money per sec, so I'm going to change the money per second by 2. And I'm also going to I'm going to create a new variable called shops plus for all sprites, and I'm going to change shops plus by 1. And then I'm going to drag in a if inside of the else, and right click duplicate the upgrade name equals, and I'm going to go into my costumes and copy the name of my costume, of my 4th costume. Oh, I just deleted it. Oh no. Well, I'm just going to retype it in, bank plus upgrade, and I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put that in there. So I'm going to paste it. Okay, and if that happens, well, we want to change the money per click by 2. And I'm also going to change, and I'm going to create a new variable called banks plus for all sprites. And I'm going to change bank plus by 1. Okay, I'm also going to drag in a when green flag clicked, and I want to forever, not forever, I just want to set banks to 0, set banks plus to 0, set shops to 0, and set shops plus to 0, so that we do not have a single shop when we start the game. So, okay, that is pretty... Now I'm also going to make the money per second thing actually work, because for now, if we buy it, we won't actually get anything. So I'm just going to get into the money one. I'm also going to set money to 3,000 so I can buy all the upgrades. No, 30,000 actually. And I'm going to drag in a when green flag clicked. So when the green flag is clicked, I'm going to set money per second to 0, and then forever I'm going to wait 1 second and then change money by money per second. Okay, that is nice. Now let's try it out quickly. So for now, we're pretty nice. These variables are kind of in the way, but I'll remove them later. Once I open up my shop, I see all my items, and if I buy, for example, a bank, my banks goes up, and if I click, I should get, hide all those variables because I can't actually see anything. So I need to take away all those variables. I'm also going to call this sprite upgrades. Upgrades. I'm going to hide these too. Okay. So now I get $2. As you can see, it increases by $2 each time I click. If I buy a Bank Plus, I get plus $2 per click, so I get in total $3 per click. Because I have one of those and one of those. Okay, so also if I buy one of these, I get $1 per second. If I buy one of these, I get $3 in total per second. If I buy one of these again, well, I can click and I get some money. Okay, that's great. I also want to add something to our background animation, which is I wanted to repeat the number of times it is repeat the number of money per click, but only if the money per click is less than 30, because otherwise it will create too much clones and it will start lagging. Money per click is it else, and actually I need an if else actually, sorry about that. I'm going to drag this away and put that in. I'm going to put that inside the if else, and otherwise I am going to repeat, so inside the else I'm going to repeat 30 times, and then it will stay at that number. Okay, that's great. So now we can see that, for example, if I buy one of these, I get $3 per click, and also more spawn. Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, and if I buy too many, well then we will start having a lot of clones falling from the sky. A lot of clones will fall from the sky. Okay, so anyway, I also need to maybe add a bit of animation to our shop items and also add a number counter under them. Okay, so to do that, I am going to, so for now I think I'll just add a bit of animation because that animation always looks very cool. So I'm going to drag in a when I start as a clone, forever, if else, and I'm going to put an if touching mouse pointer. If touching mouse pointer, I'm going to set the size to 55. And else I'm going to set the size to 50. Okay, so now it looks a bit nicer when we buy our upgrades. Okay, I'm also going to add in a number counter. So I'm going to duplicate this number counter and change all the monies into maybe shops, for example. So I'm going to take away all the monies and replace them with shops. Okay, it should be good now. And I'm going to also change its position, otherwise it will just overlap. So I'm going to change the position to minus 140 instead. 140 with minus 20 as the y value. Okay, so that will work, I think. Yes, we have one. Oh yes, but of course it needs to go to the front layer and go to the front layer and go to the front layer when we forever actually, and then I also need to check if the shop open actually equals yes. If it does, then I want to show, else I don't want to. So I'm going to drag in an if else, and I'm going to drag in the show in there. The rest I will put at the bottom anyway, and I'm going to say if shop open equals yes. So equals yes. If shop open equals yes, well, we want to show, else we want to just simply hide. Okay, I think we might have to go a bit over time on this tutorial because we still need to add just a couple of more things. So because I want to stick with 3 parts, I'm going to keep going just a bit. So now I'm going to just check this out very quickly, and I see that there is a number counter. Okay, that is very cool. So now I'm going to duplicate that, and I will change all the shops to banks. So I'm going to take away the shops and instead put banks, because that will be the number counter for the banks. Well, at least for me. Maybe you don't have banks. I'm going to and I'm going to change its position to 100 minus 115, at least for me, and a y of minus 22. Okay, so now we both have a number counter for the shop, and it goes up each time we buy one of these items. Okay, that is very cool. I'm going to duplicate this again, and and I'm going to replace the banks with banks plus. So I'm going to put in a bank plus here. Well, at least for me. Maybe you have a different costume. So I'm going to bank plus, okay, and I'm going to change the x, actually the same x, but the y will be minus 150. Minus 150. Okay, that's great. Let's test that out too. So okay, they all go up when you click them. That is very cool. So I'm going to also duplicate the very last one, and I'm going to change all the banks plus to shops plus, and okay, so I'm going to see yes, and I'm going to change the x to I'm going to change the x to 140. Okay, so let's check that out. Okay, we all have a number counter, and they all go up each time we click. Okay, and they all work pretty well. So let's see. So right now I can click, I have some money falling from the sky, I have a status depending on how much money I have, and then I can open up and I can buy a shop, and I get $1 per second. If I buy this, I get $3 per second because I get +2 +1, so I'm going to get 3. And if I buy this, I get $2 each click. And if I buy this, I get an extra $2 per click too. So I will have a lot of money falling from the sky, and then I'll be able to go and become a millionaire. Okay, so that's the end and the very last episode of my series. Thank you for watching, and see you in another one of my series. Bye!